everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Get This D. I'm your boy D.Smith, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, taking a little time out your busy schedules, man, to listen to the podcast, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Shout out to the Taylor LaRue crew. Curator Kelvs in the building. My boy Zeke jumping down. Appreciate you, boy.
Yes, sir,
Appreciate
man.
you, boy. Miss Mimi P. Picasso in the building.
Mimi Picasso.
Shout out to you, girl. And I got my nigga Chill.
Yes, sir.
Chill. Skeezer Weezer in the building, baby.
Hashtag Chill told me to post this.
What's good,
Yeah.
boy?
What's up, baby?
Man, glad to have you here, man.
Indeed,
Appreciate
I
you, man.
the invite, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So listen, y'all know how it is, man. We ain't gonna waste too much time, man. Let's go ahead and jump into the topic, dog.
Yeah, man.
Listen, man. Today's topic, man. The shit men don't say.
A whole lot.
The shit men don't say.
A whole lot.
Now, I was hoping to have a bigger, cast of characters here, man, and really get into the weeds. But we're going to ride out anyway. You know what I'm saying? We're going to ride out anyway, baby. We're going to try to tackle this as broad as three fellas can.
Man, the three-man weave.
Yeah.
Three-man weave.
You know what I'm
Break.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
The ball don't touch the flow.
I run in point. So let's go ahead and run it in, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, so just to give y'all listeners a little bit of a little bit of an overview of what we're talking about. The shit men don't say. Women, I know this is probably gonna turn y'all off, but I don't give a fuck. Fellas, it's for y'all. So.
But it's educational for them too. If they want to learn some things, it's educational.
That's true. That's very true. If you're willing to learn, if you're willing to listen, you will definitely learn some things.
Absolutely.
And fellas, if you are willing to listen and open up, you may actually, bump into a few of these scenarios or even some of these areas that we're gonna cover tonight. All right. So think about things you might have wanted to say, men. Husbands, brothers, fathers, sons, uncles, grandparents, whoever, men. Think about things you wanted to say, times when your voice might have been silenced, either because you had to silence it yourself or because you had to silence it due to a situation. Maybe you're at work. It's not the right time. It's not the right environment. You and your boss get into a certain conflict. You want to say what you want to say, but you can't, even though you're right. You still can't do it because of the situation at work. Maybe it's a situation at family, at a family function or with family. You don't want to say this to your mom. You don't want to say this to your dad, but they were in the wrong. But you respect your mom. You respect your dad. You respect your brother. You respect your sister. You respect auntie. That's your favorite auntie. You don't want to tell her she wrong, but man, she wrong this time. You want to say that, but you don't say that. You know what I'm saying? What about situations with other men? You and your brother have a rift. You feel a certain way. You don't tell your brother. You feel a certain way, and you're afraid to tell your brother because you're not sure how he's going to take it, or you're not sure how to express it. But years go by, but you still got this thing you need to say. Think about that. Think about situations in society. Maybe you're faced with some racism. Maybe a cop's in your face. Maybe, you've had a situation where you ran into a cop situation. You want to say what you want to say. But you know better. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to sound like a house nigga to say that you know better. But we all know better. We know, what I'm saying? I've been in situations where I've had to really catch myself when dealing with cops. Because you'll see the buttons that they push. And you'll know the authority struggle, and you'll know the result of you basically just flying off the handle and saying whatever the fuck you want to say.
Impossibilities.
Yeah, just words. It will land you in jail on some stupid shit.
Land you dead.
Or worse. Or worse. So that's where we're going with this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on board? Everybody good?
Yeah, man.
Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, man. Anybody here married? Let's start there.
Me, I ain't married.
Hey, there we go. We found somebody.
I didn't found me a woman. You know what I'm saying?
You was taken.
Right.
You was claimed.
I was claimed. I found me a fish out there.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
I've been married before. And to married men, there's a lot of shit married men have to really, really swallow. Like for real. There's a lot of things that you be having to swallow because as a married man, one, you feel the load of the responsibility. Two, you also feel the weight of the fallout.
Well, you know what? Not to interrupt your point, but
No.
In married couples, there is a lot of things that women have to swallow that they do swallow.
That's true
as well.
That's true.
Some of it is mental, some of it is biological.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they swallow some things in married couples, and sometimes they don't regurgitate it. They swallow it. They take it like a champ. So therefore, I will not complain about what she swallows. I'm gonna let her,
let her take her look.
Let her take her look. I heard this song the other day called "Throat Baby."
Wow.
And I was shocked.
Throat baby.
Throat baby.
Throat baby.
Throat baby.
Who the hell? What's the artist?
We will discuss that off. But it is. Yeah. And
God damn.
I know women married and single, you know, take a lot of things. They swallow a lot of things. But, you know, when it comes to, like, on another note, man, when it comes to, like, the things women deal with, sometimes, like, when it comes to us, a lot of times, man, we want to tell the 100% unadulterated truth. The reason why we don't is because we know it will chop you into pieces. But when our counterparts want to tell us the truth, when they see red, we have to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got to take it like a man.
Like a man.
Take it like a man.
Take it like a man.
I hate that saying.
That's some bullshit.
You have to take it like a man, or you should have been a man and did whatever.
Mm-hmm.
To avoid the shit.
What does that really mean? Because
I have no idea.
It even to say, unfortunately, worse coming from a woman. Well, you should have been a man and walked away.
You can't. You're not a man.
You've never been a man, so you can't tell me what even to say per the situation, what a man was supposed to do. You're not a man.
Right.
That's just like to say that a woman can't raise a man to be a man. No, you're mirroring what you think he should be.
Right.
But if you've never been a man, then you can't say, well, this is what a man's supposed to be. How? Because essentially, you're raising him, you would be raising that man child off your womanly thoughts and emotions.
And in doing so, you cap his ability to be truthful.
Exactly.
To be 100% honest. Because, like you were saying, the truth is a really, really strong thing. And you got to be very, very careful with how you tell it and to who you tell it to and when you tell it to them.
Right.
And when you're dealing with a spouse, or if you're dealing with somebody in a relationship with, even if you're dealing with a friendship, you know, being honest.
It's honest to a point.
It is, but it's a growth. It's a journey.
Yeah. I can tell you the truth without giving you full detail of the scenario. You can get the truth, and that's what you asked for. That's what you got. Versus each and every minor detail that just might poke and stab at you when
it might have the reverse effect.
Yeah.
It could come off as attacking.
Yeah.
If you're not careful with it.
Yeah. I've
so men end up not telling the full truth.
Well,
and this
all
is the
time. All the time. And not just in marriage situations. Even in dating situations.
Even in dealing with the ex.
Even in dealing with an ex. In every relationship, well, not every relationship, but in most relationships with men dealing with women, you're only getting about 80% of the truth. 80 to 85% of the truth. And that could be lowballing it.
Right.
I agree
that
with
could
that.
be lowballing it.
I agree with that.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
But that also could be lowballing, because there could be situations where the husband is just one of them unicorns where he's just telling you everything and you are intaking everything the way he's giving it to you, and you're able to give to him and he's intaking it the way you give to him, and y'all are cool with that. But most relationships are going to have a certain gray area of just common misunderstanding.
Well, this is the thing to piggyback off what you're saying. Man, the reason why men don't say certain things, you know, to D's point, to Chill's point as well, is because it requires a man to be vulnerable, and a man is not going to be vulnerable unless he has a safe space to be vulnerable. So based on your interactions with your partner, your friend, based on your conversations, you provide him the intel he needs to figure out, okay, I could tell her this, or I could tell her that. But like, if he don't feel safe, then he not gonna do it. And the other thing is too, on the flip side, I just want to point out real quick, when it comes to relationships, a lot of times, man, you hear the cliche, man, this is, you know, because they just want to get everything off their chest. This is my truth. This is my truth. It could be your truth, but that don't mean it's the truth.
And that don't mean it's
fact an
either.
It's an opinionated.
Yep.
Just because it's your truth don't mean it's the truth. You know what I'm saying?
It's
and that drives me up a wall.
Your truth is an opinionated fact.
She's already decided, no matter what logic you bring, what she's saying is true.
Which is opinion and fact. It's part opinion, part fact.
It's whack.
It's
That's
whack.
what it is.
Exactly what it is.
That's funny as hell, man.
Yeah, man.
That's funny. I remember when I was married, and this is confession time. I cheated on my wife, like at a point in our marriage.
Yeah, okay.
But she didn't know about it, and it wasn't long lived. It was very short lived. And it was years later that we had moved on and everything. And again, she never found out about it. But over the years, she would just say things like, "Did you ever cheat on me?" You're just in jest.
Right.
In jest. You know, not during an argument, not during a misunderstanding, not during a conflict. You know, just in general, just conversation and in jest. And I'm like, "Girl, please quit playing." No, right?
Did you tap me on my shoulder? That it did happen?
No. Like, no, right? She's like, you can tell me. I wouldn't be mad. I'm not mad if you did, or whatever. So, for years I denied it. Until one day, I actually told her. And it was a lie. It was a complete lie. And of course it changed everything. But again, this is just an example of truth. Now, I wanted to be honest. The first time she asked me about it. But I knew that was going to fuck shit up. And since shit wasn't fucked up at the time, well, at that time, I didn't, I kept it to myself. I rocked the boat. Yep. And every year, I rocked the boat. Till one year I felt, okay, maybe I'm comfortable here. Maybe this is an okay place. This is an okay space for me to tell the truth.
And you all were not together when this came out.
No, we were.
No. When the truth came out.
We were living. We were still married.
Oh.
Yes, we were fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother.
I know. The dumbest shit in the world.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah.
One, I should not have cheated. That's one.
Facts.
That's one. Ownership. That's one.
Right.
Two, I shouldn't have never said that.
It's just some stuff
shit.
you got to take to your grave,
That's
brother.
true. But again, when people say they want honesty, here's another thing about
you freed yourself.
But
though.
That too.
You freed yourself.
That too. That too. So it's another thing when people say they want honesty. See, and this is what we talking about when we say shit men don't say.
Don't say.
You know what I'm saying? You ask any woman out here, what's the top 3 things you want in a spouse or a mate or something? Honesty, trust,
all that stuff.
communication. Those are
All
probably
that
going to be the
fluff.
top 3. Yeah. All that bullshit, right? That sound
fluff.
really, really nice. You know?
It's not real.
Yeah. Your wife, your spouse says they want complete honesty. Do they really? Can you honestly?
They want honesty that will
honest.
tailor to them.
They want honesty that will tailor to them. Can you be honest to your girlfriend? Can you be honest to your mama?
Absolutely.
Can you be honest to your pops?
Absolutely.
To your father? Can you be honest to your brother, your older brother, or your older sister, your older sibling, the one that took care of you? Can you be honest with them? Can you be honest with your favorite cousin? Y'all grew up together. Y'all like brother and sister. Y'all like sisters and sisters. Y'all like brother and brother. You know what I'm saying? Two peas in a pod. Can you be honest with them? Can you be honest with your best friend that you grew up with?
You got to.
You got to.
You got to tell them that. You got to tell them the truth.
You got to. You should.
But do you?
But do you? You know they be on fuck shit.
Because,
but
like,
can you tell them that?
If you don't, if you got a partner that you've been cool with for years, and you don't tell them the truth about themselves,
you ain't their real partner.
You not. You actually handicapping them. You know what I'm saying? From reaching whatever levels of potential that they can reach. If you always telling them what they want to hear as opposed to what they need to hear.
What if you're not telling them anything? What if you're just living your life and allowing them to live their life, and you're allowing them to be friends with you through whatever avenue y'all are friends through?
That's not a friend. That's an associate.
Yep.
Oh shit.
You just associating yourself with that person. You just amongst that person versus being honest with them, because as a friend, you should be able to tell anything one way or another. Especially, hey, you fucking up. Just like you can tell them, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I got your back or whatever. But hey, if they doing some dumb shit, you still got their back. I have a so there's a scenario. There's a situation. And it was brought to me. Yeah, it was brought to me, a friend, and the friend's sibling was shot. What? Pissed. Don't know the situation. Just know the friend's sibling got shot. Oh no, we at minimum have to look into this. Y'all know me. Look into it. Cool. With that being said, wait. Because you haven't really been around that sibling in a while. You're cool with the sibling. You're closer to the brother. Then you hear information. The friend or the sibling was shot by their, might as well say, best friend. Now you're scratching your head. I got your back regardless. But
how your best friend shoot you?
Exactly. So let me think. Let me listen. Let me pay more attention. Let me find out a little more detail. Come to find out, no, well, you pulled out a pistol on your best friend first. And then when you all had a second interaction, the best friend shot you. Well, hell, because now.
What kind of friends is y'all pulling out pistols on each other?
Exactly the point. So now, if you're on the outside and you thinking, no, I have
somebody
to
ain't telling the truth.
avenge my friend or whatever. No, you have to be able to tell your friend, if this is your friend. First, get all the details. Second, hey, you was wrong.
That's fucking crazy, man.
You started that situation.
Yeah.
And that's why it ended the way it did. I'm glad you're alive, but you started that shit. How dare you pull a pistol out on in this day and age? Oh, it was okay because you was mad at the time. Whatever the situation, you was mad at the time.
I can't have you around me if I can't tell you the truth.
Exactly.
I can't because I try to practice telling the truth.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very difficult for me to be around somebody who's a bullshitter or somebody who likes to lie, somebody who likes to fluff. You know what I'm saying? That's just difficult for me. Like when dealing with women tend to exaggerate or fluff sometimes. You know what I'm saying? When they just in talking.
All right, now you in some hot water.
I know I'm in hot water. I know I'm in hot water. I know I'm in hot water. But it's a lot of times when men have to kind of bite their tongue and not speak on certain things because they know women will react a certain way to it.
That's true. I mean, it's a lot of times, man, where if we talking about stuff men don't say, a reason why men don't say a lot of things is because sometimes, man, we trying to protect the feelings of our special person, of our partner. We trying to protect your feelings, because if we told you exactly what we feel and how we feel, man, you would be crushed. We trying to protect in your headspace.
See, again,
that's another conversation.
Again,
though,
women claim they want honesty, but then men have to be. How much honesty can you handle? And then another thing too is how it's delivered. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, what I found is when I'm being honest, I try to be clear and cut honest, which means I make it short and sweet. I try not to get this whole big, rationale for it unless I have to give background.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I like to leave it very, very short and sweet so you have little to nibble on. But I've also found that if I take that little bit and put a tad bit of a twang on it, like with attitude or with a little bit of authority, suddenly the authority becomes the problem and not the actual truth.
Well,
Suddenly the tone becomes the problem and not what I've actually said. That little bit of truth. It's not so much what I said now.
It's how you said it.
It's how I said it.
see,
Which now means
that's
I
my
can't
water.
say, which now gives me another checkpoint in expressing myself and in weighing what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and when I'm going to say it to you, because now I got to check it. Now I can't just come out and say, hey, black and white. Oh, why you got to say it like that? Damn, I'm sorry. Black and white. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck,
Yeah. When it's still the same content.
But
Tone matters, man. It matters.
It-
I will
it does.
say that.
it
But
does. But you've been in situations where you knew you were just being forthright.
You gotta
and straightforward.
Sometimes you gotta say it how you feel it in your mind,
Mhm.
and sometimes you gotta add a little honey to it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what I would say, man, and it's probably gonna give me some hot water.
Uh-oh.
But it's an
Cornbread.
educational thing.
Cornbread, let's go.
It's an educational thing. People need to know this, man. Like when it comes to men and women, I want to make this a educational thing. I want it to be a man bashing, woman bashing thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is educational.
It is.
A lot of times, man, I hear our women say that their strength, like, men can handle strong women, and their strength is measured by their aggressiveness.
By
You know
their
what I'm
ability
saying?
to match
by,
a man.
by their aggressiveness.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, man, again, I grew up in the hundreds. And what I've learned is that the bigger your bark, the softer your bite.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The louder your bark is to cover up an insecure individual.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times what people will also do is they will be as loud and rambunctious and aggressive as they can to almost persuade you, man, you know what, I don't even want to deal with them because they acting like, such and such and such. So it's almost like, man, they want to punk you out of the argument before you all even argue or debate. So that's what I got to say.
That's
And that's false.
that is very, very real. Very, very real. And I think a lot of, and again, not to woman bash,
Yeah.
but we're talking about what men don't say.
Right.
The shit men don't say. And so there are a lot of women who feel like a man can't handle them because, he can't handle my mouth. He can't handle this. I got so much to say and I'm just outspoken. And it's not necessarily that you're outspoken so much as it's what you're saying. And
Chaotic.
yeah.
Like when you reach a certain level, dude, when you reach a certain age,
Less is more.
what's one of the things, man, that you look forward to when you reach a certain age?
Peace.
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 Peace, nigga.
Peace.
Leave me
Peace.
alone.
Peace.
Peace. Yes. Speak on it.
Man, you know what I'm
Speak
saying?
on-
Like, don't
speak-
nobody want
speak
all
on
that,
it.
man.
Speak on it. Why?
Like-
Speak on it. Why
like-
peace? What does peace have to do with the shit men don't say?
Listen, man.
Zeke, will you? Will you?
Now I'm about to
will
man.
you?
I'm about to help some people relationships and marriages, man. You know what I'm saying?
Just the pass to the wing.
This the pastor.
It's a no look to the wing, man.
Right. Man, see, when you reach a certain age, man, you want peace. Like, if you look at a family unit, a family structure, a household, just anything, a family, a business, a corporation, a church, whatever spirit is on the head, it will trickle down to the body. If the husband has peace in his mind and his soul, the crib gonna be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
If the pastor has, whatever he got on him, it's gonna be in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever culture is set from the top of a business organization, it's gonna be in the business.
Real talk.
So for a house, for a family, man, you get a lot accomplished when you have peace. If a dude is going now that's not to say that you want to muffle her voice. That's not saying that you want to stifle her growth. That's saying when you communicate and when you iron out these differences, you want to do it respectfully and peacefully so you can keep the current going.
Sometimes you have to channel a woman's communication. And that may sound a little weird to a lot of you women, but hear me out. And some men can vouch for this. Sometimes women speak just because they have breath in their lungs to speak. Sometimes women talk because they have the right to talk.
Sometimes, I ain't trying to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I feel it rising up in me,
Come
brother.
on, man.
Man, sometimes.
Boy, you better go for it.
Sometimes, brother, at your crib, like sometimes you have to set a precedence. Like, man, no matter what, the disrespect will not be tolerated.
That's true. Very true.
It will not be tolerated.
Very true.
We can disagree. You know what I'm saying? Man, we can have debates. Like, man, we can agree to disagree, but like the disrespect will not be tolerated.
Now, that's the extreme side. I'm not talking about necessarily, just like a disrespectful communication with the wife, where the wife just nigga.
Because that's where it stems.
That's
where it stems from. No,
that's fucked up. I'm talking about a wife who kind of bucks authority a little bit. Is a little bit of a handful. She'll do what she's told. Like she'll cooperate at the end, but she's
like, you don't want a slave. Like, you ain't my slave. You ain't my maid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You a person. You express who I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
like, they ain't gonna just like. You got to work with them. That type. Like, she's a little feisty. She's business minded. She kind of, gun ho, go get her. Want it done her way, might have been spoiled, might be the only kid, might be the middle daughter. You know what I'm saying? That kind of a personality. Not a disrespectful, like, nigga, it's going to be my way or the highway, yeah. But just more or less like, okay, look, okay, cool. It's not worth me and you even having this conversation. We'll just do it your way, and I'll live to fight another day, and we'll talk, I'll deal with the next battle. That kind of a situation where it's like, yeah, I wanted to say what I wanted to say, but you know what? Just to keep the peace, fuck it.
And see, for me, that kind of goes into the topic of shit men don't say.
That's what I'm saying.
Because with that, for personal experience, when it comes down to communication is key to me. So I express, let's say, a trigger, like just like what you all were saying. I express a trigger, and to say that I don't want a slave, not at all.
But this is I'm letting you know.
However,
I'm expressing this
and this for me goes into everybody, spouse, boss, and I don't own my own company or anything like that, so it's hard, seemingly harder, but it goes into the topic. I don't deal well with aggressive talk to me.
Neither do I.
And
not too many people do.
And I try to be very good with giving you what I can take. Unfortunately, especially for a spouse, on either end, us for women, women for men, whatever. Unfortunately, with a spouse, there is that, oh, well, you gave me your trigger, and now I'm going to use that against you. So when it comes to the communication or what we can't say, I damn near can't, per my past situations or relationships, I damn near can't tell you that that's a trigger for me because you might use it. And
that's a violation of trust.
See, that goes into
violation of trust.
That goes into what you were saying earlier about one of the reasons men don't talk. One of the reasons men don't say shit is because it's not a safe space.
I wanted to touch on that too. See? Yeah, to say that we kind of bounced away from it, but I had wanted to get back to that because if this is my safe place, this is my space, and I've trusted you the vulnerability. That's what you said.
Right, the vulnerability.
And if I'm here, we're here together. We're together. I want to be with you. I'm just telling you, because I'm not gonna do it to you. So preferably, what I'm telling you is, don't do this to me.
I'm trusting you enough to give you the keys to this door, or to give you the button to this landmine.
Exactly.
Don't push this fucking
Don't push
button.
the button.
Please don't push this button.
Please don't.
Please.
Because the explosion or even implosion, you will not be able to handle.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I say, that vulnerability, because now it turns into, I don't even like you no more.
It's almost like sabotage, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's almost
Now it's
like sabotage.
Now it's a resentment.
Yeah.
Now you get a now you build a now you get a resentment. Now I don't want to tell you anything.
But this is the
and
other
that's
thing
that's
too.
that's the downfall. That's what it.
And when that happens, I don't even want your pussy no more.
It's over. It's over at that point.
Well, I wasn't thinking about
but
real. I don't want your
and,
pussy no more after that, because now I no longer look at you as a sexual object anymore. Now I look at you as an enemy.
Yep.
Or I look at you as a potential danger because I opened up and was vulnerable to you. But instead of you maneuvering around these triggers, which I've laid out for you, I didn't let you run into them repeatedly and just react to them. I actually communicated that this is something that is a trigger for me. Please try to avoid this. But instead of doing so, you actually manipulate the situation and use the trigger. So now I have to look. I can't look at you any other way other than you're attacking me. It's like if you were to tell me you were raped before or you were abused before.
And you use that against
And then I use that against you when we get to. That's what I'm saying. That's not cool. That's not cool. So you can't do the same thing to me either.
Well, you might have a devil's advocate to say, well, it's not that intense as that. You know, the measure.
That's a problem.
It's not as deep as that.
That's the problem, because it is. You're talking about a man who you want to stand up to be a man. Yet you are creating an environment where you're training him to watch his voice, watch what he says, watch what he's going to say. Not so much just tone, but in content. You know what I'm saying? So, in essence, you're telling him he can't be himself.
Can't be yourself. And now I'm walking on eggshells for you, which makes me
less of a man. And that's a dangerous place to be, man, because now you're not even really being your full self.
Exactly.
You being what you want. You being what they want your representation to be.
You're being what's comfortable for them.
Right.
Instead of being yourself.
Which is not the most you can be. You're capping yourself.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you're
actually lying. That's what it is. You're lying.
Damn.
You're lying to them. You're lying to yourself.
Damn.
Because at any given point, you're not being who you actually are. And if that's the case, you're holding back. You're hiding. And if you're hiding, you're lying.
Real talk. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's it.
That's exactly what it is. What happens is you turn your man into a liar.
Exactly. And one way or another.
I think that's actually okay of us. I think that's an okay statement to actually make.
To appease you.
When you take your man's voice away, or when you cap a man's voice or his communication method, you turn him into a liar because he's no longer authentic. Would you agree with that?
I agree, man. But like, what I would also say, man, is that I think for when you think about your partner, and you think about the representation, it's almost like if you have a relationship, let's just flip it. Well, it's the guy and the woman, right? And you want this woman to be the best that she can be. So it's like you have to help her grow. You won't help her grow if you holding back. You won't help her grow if you shaving the things that she needs to learn, her life lessons. And it's vice versa. It's like if you want this man to grow, you have to allow him to be the full version, and y'all work within that confine. You can't get 75 or 50% of him, you know what I'm saying, and be like, man, well, I want him to be the best, but you only comfortable with the parts that you like. You know what I'm saying?
Man, football, that's what we call Hollywood.
Here's a scenario for you. Imagine going to war with your spouse, right? It's just two of y'all. You got grenades, you got AKs, you got HKs, and you got rocket launchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your spouse don't want you to use the rocket launchers because they're too loud. But she expects you to go to war with her.
Mm.
But she expects you to go to war with her and bring all your weapons except the one that make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But I need you for this war, though.
It's not gonna work.
We're going to win this war, though.
Mm-hmm.
But leave the rocket launchers. leave your biggest shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that to me is kind of similar. You know, so when we talk about shit men don't say, one of the reasons they don't say it is because, hell, they're not vulnerable. They're vulnerable. They're too vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
They're not protected. They don't have a space to say what they need to say. Or they've kind of been capitulating so much that they've gotten into this groove of keeping the peace, you know, with their spouse. Or
My
Happy-
man used
happy
the
wife,
five.
happy life.
My man used the 5-syllable word.
I did, dude.
Capitulating.
Mm-hmm.
5 syllables, boy. LeVar Burton over here reading
Man,
the
reading
rainbow. Boy. So, like, what you think, man? You know, because I'm sure the women are listening and they taking this all in.
Mm.
You know, what can make a man feel comfortable to actually say the things that he really feels?
Skeezer.
Skeezer?
Skeezer Weezer. Say that one more time.
Skeezer Weezer.
So what would make a man feel, we talk about things that men don't say.
Mm-hmm.
What would make a man feel comfortable to say the things that he doesn't say? What will make him feel like it's okay to say the things he doesn't say?
What I've learned is that comfort to any dynamic comes within self. And what I mean by that is to any dynamic, any situation, we all have children.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with one child. The child will find comfort in saying certain things. Hell, we even did it. There's certain things that you can say to your mother that you will never say to your father, even in front of. I ain't got to say it to you. I ain't going to even say it in front of. The first time you cursed in front of one of your parents, it was your mom.
Probably your mom.
Why? Because that comfort is there.
Mm-hmm.
You said to self, subconsciously, I think she might, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
She
I'm
laughed.
sorry, Mom. Sorry.
She
Versus the thought of saying it in front of your
Oh,
father.
hell no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say
No, I
he
ain't
gonna
even
fuck
tried.
me up.
I
I'm
ain't
not gonna even
tried.
try
Yeah, I
that.
ain't even tried.
It was most comfortable to say different things like that, or whatever dynamic. So you find that comfort came from within self.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's, well, what can I say to my spouse? That comfort comes within you. Now, unfortunately, it's a fishing moment.
I think that's a point because I think the comfort it's a two-way street.
Mhm.
I think you have to be comfortable enough to give, and they have to be comfortable enough to get.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like to receive,
this one thing is
and that's part of the environment for you to come and say what you need to say.
for me. The point that I'm getting to is I'm gonna see how far I can get.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. You would never go to your wife and say, yeah, Christmas coming up. I was thinking about a threesome. Hell no.
Now, it depends.
Right.
It depends. If you have the comfort to bring that to her,
Mhm.
and she has the comfort enough to receive that, y'all can figure that out. Whether that ends up being a joke or just some shit that I said in joke, or whether that's some shit that I said in jest that I really meant that you like. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we should explore that. That all comes with the comfort of the relationship. You're not gonna say that to somebody you don't feel will either take it as a joke and blow it off,
Right.
or will take it serious.
So
If you're not gonna take it. You're not gonna say that to somebody that's gonna take it negatively and be like, "Oh, nigga, what you trying to say? You trying to say I ain't good enough? Or you want to fuck somebody?" You're not gonna do that.
I'll give this to you.
But you'll know that environment in order to make that judgment. You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna give this to you, not to cut you out, but I'm gonna give this to you because I know that you'll understand this. Summer 1997.
Mm-hmm.
We're out in front of school at practice.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things that you definitely would have said in front of Coach Hicks
Uh-huh.
that Spurlock would never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a comfort within self.
That's also because we knew the coaches we were dealing with. It's
So
certain but they've so for example, Brooke created an environment where we can communicate certain ways.
Yeah.
And and Spurlock created a different environment where you can communicate in certain ways.
Right.
So you kind of knew who you could do and say what with.
So
based on a mutual thing, which is you're comfortable receiving and I'm comfortable giving.
right. So now when you walk into the house, you know there's certain things that you just can't say to your wife or spouse.
You know what they ain't comfortable receiving.
I'm not gonna even say that.
Mm-hmm.
And certain things, it's like maybe. And then, unfortunately, ain't no unfortunate. This is life. You get away with a little bit. Let me tap dance on it to a little bit more, and that's how it works. That is school. That's work. That's spouse. That's parents. That's life.
You see how you have to test the environment.
Oh.
You got to test the environment to see if it's stable enough for you to give more truth to it, or for you to be your complete honest self, so that you can communicate properly, or so that you know how to communicate properly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right now we're having a podcast. We say whatever the hell we want to say.
Yep.
This may be a conversation you can't have with your grandparents,
Right.
or with a group of women. You know what I'm saying? Strictly just women, or a group of single women, or a group of married women,
Right.
or a group of single men. This may be a conversation more for married men.
Right.
This may be a conversation more for the 40-year-olds as opposed to the 20-year-olds.
Yep.
So I'm saying, so again, it depends on the environment and the willingness of the people in it to intake.
Right.
So if you're in a situation where I think a lot of women may feel like they have a great relationship or a great communication relationship with their spouse or boyfriend or brother or friend, right? But if you ask the male counterpart, he may have a different angle. Or you may be a female going through some communication issues and you're wondering what the fuck is going on. You know what I'm saying? You may need to check yourself and see whether or not you created a stable enough environment for the truth.
That's a tough ask.
For honesty.
That's a very tough ask.
And I know it is because it requires you to look in the mirror. And a lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people aren't honest about the amount of honesty they can actually handle. And then I'm honest enough to say that makes me feel a certain way. So don't tell me that much honest.
People.
You should be your own.
I thought you said women.
No, I
should be
said
your own
women earlier, but I threw people in there. The last part because it is kind of broad. I don't want to just make it about women, but we're talking about
sensitive men that can't handle the real truth either.
So true, G. That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. And they can't handle the truth from other men.
They can't handle the truth. Period.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the shit men don't say could be because that nigga is bitch hearted and can't take the truth himself.
Yep.
Did you just say?
Yes. That nigga's bitch hearted. Yes. Yes.
Where did that come from? Is that in Webster? You just made that up. Boy, can you imagine arguing with somebody? Man, you bitch hearted nigga.
Yes. Kills everything right there.
I feel insulted even listening.
I mean, but it is.
Man, am I one of them? I can't be. I hope I'm not one of them.
If you can't take the truth about yourself, that means you're not being honest with yourself, which means you never look. And if you never look at yourself, that means you're too busy looking at everybody else.
That's right.
If you're too busy looking at everybody else, that means you ain't giving a shit about what you going through. You more caring about what everybody else is doing.
And what everybody else is thinking.
Exactly. So therefore, I don't need to spend much time analyzing that. Well, it's bitch hearted for a dude to be like that. It just is. It just is because I can't run from that shit. It's certain shit you just can't run from. You can't.
Honest.
You got to be honest with
The
it.
truth hurts people.
It does, and it's much
It
better
do.
for you to just suck it in and say, you know what, that's what it is.
I think, man, in order for people to be able to, listen and receive the things that you really want to say that you don't normally say, I agree with everything y'all said. I just want to add to it that I think whoever you communicating with, I think you have to have a cachet with that person. You have to have a
Credit.
level of
Yeah.
comfortability with that person.
Yep.
You gotta almost, it's like you have to build on some 5 heartbeats. A heart is a house for love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta
Yeah.
build it up.
Yeah, build that
Build
credit.
it up. Build it up. Build it up. It's like you gotta build it up.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, you base what you say according to the level that you have built with that person.
Dude, okay. I'm glad I got y'all niggas on the show, boy, cause y'all chopping this up nice and heavy, man. That right there is big. That right there is huge. That is fucking huge, man. Because I would love to say that I'm 100 all the time. And you ask anybody, they'll all tell you they 100 all the time. If I was honest, I would tell you that I'm 100 with degrees.
True.
Because y'all my people. I go back with y'all. We got history. I have no reason to lie to y'all. Y'all ask me something. I have no hesitation in going straight to the truth. I don't have a roadblock. I don't have a detour. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a juke move. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a stall tactic. None of that's in play. You ask me a question, it's straight to the truth.
Yep.
100% honesty. Somebody just walk about the blue, ask me, hey, Chill? Skeezer Weezer? Zeke? No.
Right. Why?
I know. I don't know who you are. Who the fuck are you? Is you Dennis? I don't know no fucking Dennis.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there are levels to this communication thing. And there is a certain level of credit that has to be built up to access certain honesty and certain truthfulness.
And you base that off of your experiences. You base that off of the time you spend with that person. It's almost like you make a judgment to know, okay, they can handle this because based off of the past, this, and this, they handled it pretty well.
They've earned a level of trust.
Right, they've earned a level of trust based on their actions. You know what I'm saying?
That's another thing to ask yourself, ladies. Have you earned a certain level of trust? I know, like, for example, on the dating scene, I hear a lot of women saying they want complete honesty, they want communication, they want all that, right? I'm just saying. They say that's what they want.
It's been said.
They say that's what they want, but are they willing to put in the credit hours to get access to the things that they want that they claim they want the honesty about? Instead of waiting to the day 3 or day 4 or conversation 2 to get the honesty, to reach into the soul bag and pull out this nigga's, deepest and darkest truths from his childhood. Like, you want to know what make me tick, or do you just want to know why I'm looking so good right now?
So let's keep
you know what I'm saying? Or do you really want to know the inner workings of?
Let's keep it 100.
This massive hunk called D.Smith.
Yeah, that nigga been sexy since we was 10.
Do you just want a bite of the pie, or do you want to know what the ingredients are?
Right.
You want to know how long it took to bake this pie? What you want to know?
Let me keep it all the way 100, man.
Come on. Please do. This is a safe space.
This is a safe space. Right. This is a safe space. When it comes to that level of trust, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times you will find that people feel like they should already have that. Number one is because
blanket trust.
Well, let me break it down to you like this. when it comes, I'm talking about when it comes to dating and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, women view themselves as the asset. You're the prize. They're the jewel. They're the asset. Therefore, their level of pursuit, their level of commitment, their level of what they're willing to contribute in the beginning is always one-sided, because it's like we are the predators. We trying to get to them. They the asset. So we trying to acquire the asset. So their level of participation is not the same level as ours.
It's not because it's based on requirements.
It's based on, man, it's not based on requirements, it's based on acquisition. We want them to be an acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's like we have to convince them, instead of them to convincing us that they're worthy to be acquired. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We have to convince them that we are worthy to handle them as a jewel. We are worthy to handle them as a prize.
Right.
Not the other way around.
I'm saying we have to meet certain requirements.
Right.
We as men have to meet.
Right. So their level of commitment is going to be different. Their level of, what you putting on the table is going to be different from the cards we put on the table.
Exactly. So we have to build up a certain amount of credit.
Right.
To earn their trust.
Exactly. And not the other way around.
Ain't that a little ass backwards though?
But that's the way it is. It's not until the realization don't come until until they finally realize what they have, and the thought of potentially losing that to somebody else, that they like, man, I got to give a care about this, because I can't lose now that I know what's underneath this dude. Mm-hmm. I can't lose this, especially to no other heifer. Man, please.
Well, then that's an example of a woman, I would assume, taking what she learned and instead of hitting the triggers, mm-hmm. using what she's learned to create an environment around those triggers, to where this man now sees her not only as a physical prize, but also maybe even a spiritual or mental prize. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can come and unload and talk to this woman and tell her my inner feelings.
But we view them as an asset from the onslaught. They view us as an asset in the process.
After we hit benchmarks. After we hit the requirements.
Right. After we proved ourselves. Right. Now we're an asset.
But what I'm saying is, the reason I say it was ass backwards is because there should be a dual vetting process. And and again, when we're talking about the shit men don't say, are men, is that part of what they're looking for? Or is it just, you know what, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. You know what I'm saying? It is a safe space to really be honest, something that men are literally thinking about. I know I've had conversations with men, and you remember earlier when we talked and you said, what's the one thing that, pretty much every man or every man in certain relationships wants?
Peace.
It's peace.
Peace.
It's peace. You know what I'm saying? So damn, I forgot what I was supposed to say. I think it's very important that men are aware that for as fine as she is, you know what I'm saying, as bad as she is, mm-hmm. sexy as she is, as smart as she is, as intelligent as she is, you know what I'm saying, as social and as upward mobile as she is, as educated as she is, does she create a safe space for you to be the real you? Mm. Can you trust this woman that has all these other qualities that on paper look great, but can you really trust her enough to communicate honestly with her?
You can, but she has to not speak to the representation of you. She has to speak to the king in you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you create the safe space.
Yeah.
Speak to the king in you. Mm-hmm. Because even if it's a situation where you even doubting yourself or doubting
Okay.
what
Okay.
what
Come
you
on.
able to handle,
Come on.
you even doubting your worth,
Come on.
she can speak to the king in you and make you feel safe. Like, oh, okay,
There we go. So
okay.
again, we talking about the shit men don't say, right? And I took down a little list of a couple things that I kind of wanted to just throw out there. And I'm glad you had said that because I haven't looked at this list at all during this conversation because I just kind of knew the niggas I had on the show was gonna do it for me, and I have not disappointed. And you bring up, shit, goddamn it. Give me a sec. Okay, not feeling good enough. Doubt.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about communicating, it's not just communicating our desires for the future. It's not just communicating our goals and, our aspirations and all the great stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All the good
Right.
good feeling shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not always sunshine and roses with men. And so when we talk about shit that men don't say, one of the things you don't hear men say is that I don't feel adequate, or I may feel inadequate, or I may not feel good enough, or I may not feel, I don't think I can do this. I may be doubting. I know I knocked it out the park last 3 times. I know I always make a way.
I'm feeling insufficient right now.
Yeah. Right. This time at bat,
Yeah.
I'm not quite feeling like I got all that Jose Canseco in me. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I'm feeling a little vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling a little weak. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm not being able to. I'm running out of space here. You know what I'm saying?
You're not being a man if you say that though, quote unquote.
Again, the shit men don't say.
Men don't say.
And we have this thing that men do with each other where, and I'm gonna bring it to the men because I know the women like, I'm so sick of hearing about the women. Well, the men have a part to play in this too, because we don't create safe spaces like the one we have here to have these type of conversations where we can chop it up in depth and see where this guy coming from. See where you coming from. Go ahead, bring me your 2 cents. Bring me your 2 cents. Bring me your 3 cents. Bring me your 10 cents. Whatever you got, let's ante up real quick and get a sandwich and we'll split it. Everybody eat. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to us being truthful as men, oftentimes competition keeps us from being truthful. Oftentimes judgment and comparison keeps us from being truthful. Oftentimes intimidation keeps us from being truthful. Insecurities keep us from being truthful. Pride keeps us from being truthful. You know what I'm saying? Where we're beating on our chest and we'd rather be the big man in the room to hide the insecurities. You know what I'm saying? So we create an environment where everybody else is kind of in this rank and file situation.
It goes back to what we said earlier, though. It applies to men and women where usually the person that has the loudest bark usually has the softest bite.
Very true. Very true. There are people who sometimes end up in leadership situations through politicking and are not leadership quality. You'll see this in organizations a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to point them out. Y'all can just think of any random organization you want to. Whether it be corporate, whether it be religious, whether it be social. These situations play out where weaker people end up in leadership and other people who are stronger underneath have to cap their voice because, of course, you don't outshine the master, quote unquote.
Well, man, this is one thing I've experienced, man.
To quote the Art of War, for those who ain't catching
right. I've experienced, man, that sometimes, man, people that have extraordinary gifts, extraordinary abilities, extraordinary techniques, when they get around a bunch of people or a group of people who are less talented, inferior, or less gifted, to make and appease those people in their circle, sometimes the gifted people bring themselves down. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to make everybody else feel like they insufficient. They want everybody else to feel comfortable at whatever level they are. So a lot of times, man, you'll find the brightest stars dimming their lights so they can make these other people feel comfortable.
So you get a situation where on one side, somebody's throwing their weight around to cap the voices around them, creating an environment where people around them don't have the space or the
They want everybody else to feel safe being themselves. You feel if I'm shining my light, then man, you gonna feel inferior.
which is the opposite.
Right.
So you got two sides to the coin. You got the side where the person who has the talent and has the skill set to do the job caters to the audience. And then you have the flip side, which is the person who doesn't have all of that, but has the position, has the microphone, has the space, dumbs down everybody else to keep himself in power, or to keep himself in position, or to keep himself from being vulnerable.
That's happening right now.
With Trump.
Well, I didn't say.
You didn't have to, but I am. I am, because that's the same thing y'all thought when he said it. Same shit popped in y'all head. That's truth, though. And so what you see is people underneath him who are smarter, much more educated, much more experienced, not saying shit, or even sacrificing their own talents to dumb him down to his level.
Yep.
So again, the same thing you just said, you just gave a perfect example for.
Yeah, I ain't say 45, but you said it, so
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say that fucking orange with a toupee, man.
But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. And like the other thing, man, is like when you talk about things that men don't say, and you talk about feeling comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I think, man, one issue, man, that a lot of people run into, man, is like you don't know what the reaction is. You don't know what the reaction is going to be from that person. And so, like, a lot of times we will already persuade ourselves not to pursue this conversation because we can see the outcome before it begins. We know they not going to do this. They going to react this way. They going to believe this. So I'm going to persuade myself and save my breath, my time, and my energy from even having this conversation.
Yep. Why go down that rabbit hole?
Right.
You already know how it's going to end.
Because you already know how it's going to end.
Yep.
So you save yourself some breath.
Yep. That's fucked up, too. Because, again, that goes back to what you were saying earlier, Chill. You end up lying to yourself.
To yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so really, I mean, if you think about it in those terms, like, damn, do you want your man to lie to you? If you don't, then it's probably best that you give him an environment where he can express himself. Do you want your homie or your friend to lie to you? Then it's probably better that you give them an environment to express themselves and tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? Are you somebody who feels like you can't say what you need to say?
Unfortunately, I think we give there's not we, but even we give I'll say a understanding of comfort. You know what you can and can't say to certain people.
Right.
And again, that goes back to everything else we've already stated, but to say that I kind of got to lie to you or dumb down the truth. I can't just even if it does come down to tone of voice or I have to choose my words carefully. Well, why the fuck should I have to do that? We've called each other whatever. We're friends. Whatever it may be, whatever the relationship people, I still might have to dumb down because you might get in your feelings. But then, or to layman's terms, you might get in your feelings, but you might take my words in the wrong manner. When really, if I told you something, I was kind of looking out for you when I said this.
But the tone. So I'm going to ignore the factual shit you just gave me, and I'm going to attack the tone. See what I'm saying? So that gives me almost a green light to ignore what you just said.
Right. Because you really just attacking me.
Because I'm really, It was the way you said it. It wasn't so much what you said. It was how you said. You had to say it like that. Like,
come on now.
The fuck?
Did you take in?
Did you hear what I said?
So
nothing.
So you just have to make a safe space for people to say what they need to say without the retaliation or the revenge. You know, because like if that person is really your friend and that person is really in your heart, then you know that they have good intentions. They not trying to tear you down. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, they just saying this from really a place of friendship and love. You know what I'm saying? That's where it come from.
I'm gonna throw something out there real quick. I can remember when we were young. I used to hate being told, you know, kids need to be seen, not heard. I used to hate getting told, y'all go on over to the kid. Y'all shut up. Y'all going over to the kids. You kid. You know what I'm saying? I used to hate that shit because I felt like I was intelligent enough to have a conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? My dad would always tell me he wouldn't talk to us like kids. He would talk to us like adults.
Right.
And he would always tell us because y'all are smart enough to understand. You're smart enough. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. And so what I saw growing up is, you know, a lot of older people who didn't know how to communicate, who had trouble communicating effectively. Like literally didn't really know how to communicate. They couldn't express how they felt without getting loud or getting boisterous or getting in their feelings or, you know. A lot of them did a lot of drinking. A lot of them did a lot of drugs. A lot of them did a lot of hanging and partying. A lot of them just did a lot of things to where you can communicate in a different way. You didn't have to really communicate for real. You just have a good time and enjoy the environment. And so growing up, I noticed that, you know, kids who didn't get a chance to talk at home didn't effectively speak well at school either or outside the home.
Not sure how to. So how many people grew up with this kind of subconscious cap of not expressing themselves because what they say is not valued? They've been told to sit down and shut up one too many times. You know, they haven't been given the floor enough times as a kid to learn how to use their voice. They were told to shut up and sit down because they were just a stupid kid, or, you know, kids say stupid shit, or maybe you had one of them parents who just was out there and didn't have a parent themselves, so they treated you like shit whenever you were doing kid shit. You know, like talking and saying stuff. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I have my son, Dom, or my kids, period, I always try to give them a space to talk, use your words. And if you say something stupid, I'm going to tell you why it's stupid. You know what I'm saying? If you say something that's nonsense, I'm not going to call it stupid. Call it nonsense. If it's nonsense, I'm going to tell you it's nonsense because you know sense from nonsense.
Right. This generation of kids, they definitely don't have that problem.
Oh,
they
not
are
at all.
Very emotionally
not
intelligent.
At all.
I'm like,
not at all.
You too emotionally intelligent, man.
Yeah. They're very in touch with.
Dude,
They're very in touch with how they feel.
Man, I remember I went to a library one day, man. I seen this light skinned dude in there talking to this girl, and that mog knew exactly how he felt. He was like, "Listen, you hurt me, okay? What you said the other day, it hurt. It hurt me in my heart." I was like, man, like it made me feel like it was worthless, that I was low. I'm like, man, this brother.
Look at this nigga expressing
man,
himself.
Look at you.
Okay, there, brother.
Man, go ahead with your light skinned self. You know exactly how you feel.
Take your time.
Take your time. It hurt. You hurt me. Like, look at this. You know what I'm saying? Reason why cats be getting heart attacks and ulcers back in the day because they ain't know how to say it. I ain't know how they was feeling. Like, I feel something. I don't know how to say it.
What is
you
this?
all right? Nigga, I'm all right. Smoke this cigarette. Drink this drink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't know how to express themselves.
I've had this conversation several times with several thinking brothers. As a man, I'll say as a black man, but definitely as a man, but more so as a black man, who do we express ourselves to?
Kings express themselves to kings.
Facts.
Because if only a king gonna understand a king.
Exactly. Exactly.
A court jester gonna understand a court jester.
Yep.
A joker gonna relate to a joker.
Yep.
But only my bad.
Yep.
Only a king can relate to a king. A joker can relate to a joker. A court jester can relate to a court jester. But a king can only relate to a king.
Facts.
So, man, listen. If you're listening, you know, especially to the men, find you a kingdom where you can express yourself, dude. Whether it's with
like-minded individuals, man.
For real. And if you're somebody that doesn't quite know how to express themselves, man, just get around some people who seem to know how to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a real fucking thing, and I really do believe that the lack of being able to say what the hell we need to say, you know what I'm saying, without it always being judged, or a lack of understanding how to say what the hell we need to say, is eating us up, dude.
Men struggle with a lot of things behind closed doors, man.
Man.
That they don't even feel like they have the safe space to express.
Dude.
You see,
And it eats at you.
How much shit? Okay, and I'm gonna take we're gonna take a turn. How much shit? And we're all parents. How much shit have you gone through with the other parent or one of the other parents of your kids? Like, where it literally was out of your hands. Like, this wasn't your doing. This was simply the situation that you found yourself in. And you had a choice. Turn up or turn down.
Mm-hmm. I chose to turn down.
And you chose to turn down.
Because my turn up is the Hulk.
Because the fallout.
And you're thinking about keeping the peace.
Right. I was really more so into my son. And the first thought was my son. The second thought was, I will not allow you to control me. You have shown me that, just like the example that I gave earlier, to say that
with the triggers.
The triggers. You know my trigger. Your attempts right now is to pull this trigger. You don't know that I control the safety.
Mm-hmm.
So with me controlling the safety, I'm not going to allow you, because you're showing me you need the attention. You need the turn up.
You're fighting for it.
You're fighting for
it.
us.
You're expending energy. You're spending credit to get it. You're burning bridge to get it.
And you'll need me again. So I'm going to hold on to the
Say that last part one more time. But say it very, very slowly for the people in the back.
Will need me again.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask y'all this, because I already feel it. I feel it. Did that "you need me" ever come back around?
Of course. 10 times over.
Zeke?
Yeah.
And for me, in some of the most dramatical ways, it went down. I need you here.
Now.
Right now.
Mm-hmm. So, when we talk about the shit men don't say.
Because I never said, I never brought any of that up. Do you remember when you did? I didn't bring that up. Couldn't. Because I wouldn't be a man if I did.
Somebody preach.
I wouldn't be a man. That's not being a man.
Somebody pass that plate. Somebody pass that plate, G. For real talk.
Need seconds.
Man. They can hit a word with a boy.
Absolutely.
Hey.
The word went forth, and the word was
the word was
mind of God.
Man, dude. Like, that's.
But yeah, man.
I almost want to shed a tear.
That's real life.
I almost want to shed a tear on that one. That touched my soul right there.
Yeah. And it's all meant to be educational.
Man.
It's not a bashing session.
No.
All this is educational.
No,
that you can use to make more informed decisions.
This is.
And moving forward.
I'm sure our sons' mothers will hear this show. And if you're honest, you're honest. That's all.
I appreciate. Well, you know, it's a journey, man.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? You appreciate where it started, and you appreciate where it is today.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. This is not about bashing anybody, but this is about showing angles of men or for men from men, so that we get a broader understanding of why it is that Men don't say some of the shit
Mm-hmm.
that we could say. We damn sure want to, but shit, as you can see, there's a lot of thought that goes into a lot of the shit that we don't say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of thought. I mean, from protecting y'all to protecting ourselves to protecting the environment in which we all dwell so that the house can be in a stable situation and the kids ain't all fucked up either, to protecting a livelihood.
That what you just said is profound. That part about protecting the kids, because what it comes down to is what we never get the full opportunity to talk about is some of these people, some of these a lot of these adults that are so fucked up now comes from childhood, how they were raised, how the things that they saw. So you come in as the man, the father or whatever, and you're wreaking havoc in the household. The children see that. That's where a lot of, for us, PTSD that we can't speak of or even call it that. These kids is fucked up at home, and then they go to school. Now the school is ready to put them, label them, give them some alphabets. They ADHD. They're sleeping in class all day. Well, hell, that's because this one coming home fucking us up every night. You never know, and unfortunately, which goes into dating and different things like that as an adult.
Yeah.
You don't know the triggers of this person, because whether it be male or female, you don't know the triggers of the person because they can't talk about it. We have something going on right now with this 7-year-old girl in our world right now. That was down the street from my house. And the thing is, 7 years old, when her name is forgotten and nobody knows in 20 years, and she's 27.
Where's she going to be?
Where is she going to be? And she's trying to, and somebody's trying to court her or date her, and she can't say why she don't want to give you no head. And you think, oh, well, I bet you probably the last nigga you was with, I seen the pictures on Instagram or whatever will be in 20 years. I bet you was with him.
Yep.
No. We have, I won't say the name, because I don't know if I can, but this is 40, 30. I'll be nice and say 10 years ago, which was 2010. I'll say 2000, about 2012, 13. There was a young lady. I forgot the state. There was a young lady caught on video behind a school giving head. Her name, it hit the internet, and her name went everywhere. Where's she at now?
Who knows?
Who knows? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, the thing with that is, how is she mentally? Because that hit the web and flew.
Imagine what that does psychologically.
PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, she thought it was okay. It was 2-3 boys back there. Yeah, like 3, maybe 4. One of them was getting ahead. The other one was recording. And another one was just sitting there. And she thought it was okay. But what does that do for her? So when you go into her, like I said, that was about 2013, somewhere around there. Where's she at now? What do we do? Because now she's in the world. She
affecting lives. Yep.
And so now she has, let's say, presumably she has a boyfriend or whatever, and he might not know. He knows that they have some sort of issues at home amongst themselves.
She can't communicate that.
She can't communicate that. And who is he supposed to talk to? Because he can't talk to her because he doesn't know what to say, or he doesn't even know what's wrong. So now he has to hold all of this in and attempt to figure it out.
How many men have grown up in households where they weren't shown how to use their voice, or raised in households where they might have been a heavy female influence, and rather than learning to use their voices, from a man's point of view, they kind of learn how to use their voices from a woman's perspective, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Or because of the woman influence, the male voice in them was kind of capped. Dormant.
I have a scenario. young man, father wasn't around, raised by his mother, dominant woman, and it worked out. He's educated and all of that, but his mother was a dominant woman,
and she's still dominant.
Still dominant. So, or as they call it, alpha.
Over his life, though.
Of course. But now understand, now you've put this not so alpha male, because he's used to you as his mother being the alpha. So when he goes out and he finds a woman in his subconscious, and I fully believe this, in his subconscious, what does he find?
Mama.
She the alpha.
He found his mama.
So found his mama.
Now, unfortunately, his wife is an alpha.
And she just took the place of mama.
Which would clash with who?
Mama.
But she's an alpha because her mother is an alpha. So now your wife and mother-in-law will clash with who?
He fucked.
Because who do you choose?
He fucked.
Fully.
He fucked.
Who are you supposed to choose? That goes into, I've seen it several different places.
Where's your voice in that?
You don't have one. Even, because
now. Where would your voice be? Where would your voice even be in that situation?
You can't
you can't tell your mama, listen, Mom, you need to sit down and shut the fuck up.
You can't. How?
And you can't tell your girl, listen, baby, you can sit down and shut the fuck up.
But when you met her, you allowed her to take over from your mother's position. So you've given her that role. And with that, you could never go back to the beginning because you didn't tell her to shut the fuck up in the beginning. You know, and not those words, but still, you didn't put her you didn't put yourself in a specific role. Well, I'm sorry, you chose your specific role, and it was not the alpha in the relationship.
So would that be classified as arrested development?
Maybe so.
Good question. That's good.
Would that be arrested? Would that be classified as arrested development? Because even though on other levels, you know, you're an adult, but when it comes to communicating, when it comes to communicating and expressing yourself, and then control of that, to where you outsource it to your mom and your wife. Like there's already we talked about it earlier. You know, can you be honest? Can you say what you need to say to your parent if they're wrong? Parents are people. We tend to hold them in this,
especially when you're grown.
Yeah, we tend to hold them in a sainthood regard because they gave birth to us, raised us, and we don't, you know, we don't want to pass judgment.
Never want them to feel disrespected.
Right.
It's not even that I don't want to disrespect you. I don't want you to feel disrespected.
Right. But in a logical sense, you're raising me to be an adult to say this to you. You didn't raise me to dumb myself down to not express myself. You raised me to communicate with you. So if you're wrong, you're wrong.
That's right.
But how do you do that when you've already kind of never really had that to begin with, and then all of a sudden you get grown, and then, you know, you kind of get a little successful, but then you pull in another co-manager. So you got two GMs in the house.
Let me throw the cliche out there. Per what I just gave you all, this scenario keeps popping up. You are the husband. You have a wife now. You were raised by your mother. Who gets in the front passenger seat?
Yeah, that's a fight. That's a fight to the death.
Now, you know what I'm saying?
That's a fight to the death. Yeah.
Now, my mother was heavy set, bad knees. My mother was a very strong woman. My mother told me long time ago, I'll get in the back. You don't even worry about that. That's your wife. That's who you go home to. That's who you wake up with. All mothers aren't like that.
That's very true.
My parents were married, and that summer '85, the heat heat index was hell and all of that. My father went out and bought an air conditioner. It's nice air conditioner. For 85. In 85, nice air conditioner. And he took it right on over to my grandmother's house.
What your mom say?
take care of your house first.
That's what your mama said?
My mother told me, take care of your house first.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter what I need. If you have a wife and children, take care of your house first. My mother said that. Don't worry about me if you have a household. She didn't fully directly say wife and kids, but that's what she meant, one way or another. Mm-hmm. Take care of the house. Make sure that they straight. I'll be all right one way or another. Why? Because technically I should be anyway. And this is comes straight out of her mouth. So, which goes back also to the upbringing. Mm-hmm. Well, you are a part of your upbringing. Do you brush your teeth first, then wash your face? Or wash your face first and then brush your teeth?
How was your raised?
Well, we're just going to bring it back, not to even go that deep, but we just bring it back to Scripture. The book of Genesis says, for this cause shall a man leave his mother and cleave to his own wife.
So if you cleaving to both, or if they
you
both
can't.
both ripping you apart.
It's out of like relationships and marriages are based on hierarchy. Yeah, they're based on order.
Rank and file, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you have something out of order, it's always going to be a consequence. It's always going to be a consequence.
That's a nightmare scenario, dude. Because if you can't speak as a man, if you can't put your foot down with your mom, and you can't put your foot down with your spouse, dude. You can't
just
put your
even
foot
that,
down
like
nowhere.
if the woman is the head of the household, then somewhere in the equation there will be confusion and disorder.
Absolutely.
That's just that's not to offend anybody. That's not to put anybody down. That's not to downcast or say anybody is more inferior or less inferior. Just because you have a rank don't mean that you are inferior from the other person. That just means that your positions are different. Right. You know what I'm saying? Every position has importance, but whenever there's disorder, whenever there's chaos and confusion, then you will have calamity. That's a consequence of it. And so you got to establish order, and if you don't, then you're just gonna reap the benefit, the consequences. It's just
Real
what
talk.
It come down to, man.
Real talk, man. Shit, I think we can.
Yeah, I think we could tie a bow on it, man.
I think we put a bow on that one.
Yeah,
God damn.
We done sliced it, chopped it, grinded it.
Man, jeez. Damn, that's
sauteed it.
I swear, boy, if y'all didn't get in out this, I don't know what you listening to. If you ain't getting in out this, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Listen, man, shout out to my boy Zeke, man. Thanks for coming through, dude.
My pleasure, brother.
Appreciate your family, man. My nigga
pleasure.
Skeezer Weezer.
Yes, sir.
Chill in the building, man. Chill told me to post this, man. So y'all be on the lookout for the Skeezer Weezer mascot, man.
Yeah, man.
Coming soon.
Yeah. yeah, man. Y'all got anything to add, man? Anything you want to promote?
Nah, man, just be safe.
Okay.
Don't get AIDS.
Right. Look at the time of Corona. Don't get AIDS.
Don't get AIDS.
Nigga, for real, dude.
Don't get AIDS out there.
Don't get Rona either.
Don't get the Rona either.
Yeah, man. What about you, Jazz? Skeezer?
Man, first, I appreciate you. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate all the back and forth that we were able to, you know what I'm saying, give out to each other.
Yes, sir.
And, as an outlet, because like I say, with nothing else, that is the thing. If you don't have a like-minded individual, what are you really talking about? You know what I'm saying? You putting your heart out there, and it's like, oh, you speak gibberish. Fuck. So, hey,
Jar Jar Binks face,
right?
Man, a pigeon can't relate to an eagle, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, real talk.
Exactly.
Real talk. Real talk. All right, man. Well, yeah, y'all know what it is, man. Your boy D.Smith, man. Y'all be on the lookout for other shows. Shout out to the Taylor LaRue crew, of course. Curator Kels, Miss Mimi P, Mr. Zeke in the building, man. And you know me, man. Your boy D. Smith, man. Get this D. I'll holler at y'all later, baby. Peace.